What's up everyone, Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Thanks as always for checking out our videos. Today we're going to be taking a look at another one of the knives that Gerber sent to us for review. As you can see, this is in their tactical line and this is the Gerber Order. The price point for this is going to be between $25 and $35 depending on where you pick it up. And we'll talk about some of the specs and then we'll take it out and use it. I'll wear it as an EDC for a while and let you know what I think about it. We're looking at the back of the box for some specs on the knife. You can see that it does have a thumb hole for deployment as opposed to a thumb stud. Pocket clip, it has a lock back mechanism, so it's not a liner lock or a frame lock. They do have the glass-filled nylon handle with rubberized diamond texture. And I noticed that on the Gerber Decree, that pocket clip was rubbing on that rubberized texture and actually wore it off a little bit, so we'll see how that holds up on this. Lanyard hole at the end, partially serrated blade, and again, 420 high carbon steel. Some final details: your close length 4.5 inches, your overall length 7.6 inches, your weight 2.6 ounces, and once again your steel type 420 high carbon. Here's what it looks like out of the box. I do want to mention that your blade length is 3.1 inches. I'll also tell you that I've seen the Decree, the Order, and the Edict, and they're all kind of folders in that same tactical line, and I think that this is the best looking one out of all three. I just think it's a very handsome looking knife. I'm going to show you what this knife looks like in use, and then I'll wear it as an EDC for a while, and we'll report in and let you know what we think about it. Okay, let's put the knife to use. First thing we'll do is cut a little piece of cardboard here. This is one of those tasks that you might be using your EDC knife for. We'll move on now and do a little slicing of this paracord. Next up, we'll test out these serrations, cutting through some paracord while holding it in hand. One thing I want to note is that when you use the serrations on a knife, especially to cut paracord or any kind of cordage, you want to do your best to get the cordage toward the back of the serrations and then pull forward, or the forward toward the back. You don't want to start in the middle and then just kind of tear. You want to really give it the full advantage to go all the way across the serrations, and that really leverages the serrations for what they're worth. And that certainly works quite well. So as I start wrapping up here talking about the Gerber Order, the first thing I'll tell you is that this knife, in addition to the Gerber Edict and the Gerber Decree, are all manufactured, designed, the whole 9 yards. Everything happens in Portland, Oregon. Some people had questions, and very legitimate ones. You know, is it designed in the US and then shipped overseas to be put together? Nope, it is everything for those 3 knives in particular, these tactical folders that came out in 2014 for Gerber. All those knives, everything about them is done in the United States of America. So let me share the 2 main downsides I found for this knife, and then I'll share some of the positives as well. Downside number 1 for me is the steel that they use. So 420 high carbon, there are advantages to that type of steel. The main one, I think, is that you're saving money when you make a blade out of 420 high carbon steel. I like the fact that you have S30V in the Gerber Decree. I would have preferred this style of knife with that type of steel, but it is what it is. The other thing I will say is that I found deployment, it's not terribly challenging, but it definitely doesn't swing open as fluidly right out of the box at least. So it took a while to break in, and then you got to get some lube into the access point to actually get it to flow a little bit more smoothly as it opens up. I just found overall the size of this hole for my hand, it was a little bit small to really get the blade to deploy quickly. On the positive side for the Order, I definitely like the overall look of the knife, even though the opening there to deploy your blade is a little bit small for me. I think it looks pretty attractive. Some people call this a finger groove, some people call it a choil, whatever you call it. I like the fact that there's a space there so you can actually get your hand up like this to do some of that real fine work. I did use this for some pretty detailed cutting, and I found that it worked quite well. The other thing I do like is the back lock. I just found that it feels very secure when I'm actually when the blade is locked out. I don't have any concerns about, you know, the liner or the frame lock moving. The other thing I'll mention on the other side here is that it's a nice design when it comes to the pocket clip. I mentioned on the Decree that the pocket clip was rubbing on the rubber overmold on the Decree and was kind of wearing it away. You can't really see here, but there's a little bit of a cutout there. You can see that kind of almost looks like kind of a window shape, if you will, but that is the same material that the handle is made out of, and then you have rubber here, and then this entire section here and this section here is rubber. So basically what that means is you're not going to have the pocket clip wearing down any of the rubber overmold or the rubber portions of the handle. That's a major plus for me, because I was kind of annoyed when I was using the Decree and saying the pocket clip is really beating up the rubber overmold. Another thing I've noticed about the pocket clip is that it clips in nicely. It's not too tight, it's not too loose, very easy to reach into my pocket and take the blade out. I guess the last thing I'll tell you is that I'm going to keep using this knife as my EDC knife, and that actually speaks to the fact that I do like it, because oftentimes when I get a knife for review, I'll use it as an EDC blade for weeks or months, and then bring it back into the studio, wrap up the review by saying, hey, I've used it and here's what I think of it, and then I'll just put it in the drawer. This one I've used, I'm wrapping up the review now, but I'm going to keep on using it because I have been pretty pleased with it. For something in the $30 range, I found this a bit beefier than another knife I really like, which is the Ontario Rat 2. And you know, there's things out there by Kershaw, there's things out there by CRKT, all in this price range. I found this one to be a bit more aggressive and ready to be used aggressively, you know, for a lot of the slicing, cutting, chopping tasks that I want to use it for. And I'm not worried about it breaking, it just feels very solid in my hand. So I've been quite happy with it, and if there's any updates, I'll certainly let you know. Thanks as always for checking out our videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Tumblr, and check us out on Instagram as well. Take care.